Here I got another update for this 53 pickup, installing the headlight, the French headlights, wiring them up. First, take the trim, one of the trim rings, sit it up in the hole, and pre-drill the holes that match the trim ring to the tabs in the bucket. Then I stuck the screws in there, make sure they was the right size screws to tighten up in there. So what I did was I took the trim plate, took one of the springs and one of the bolts. So I put the screw into the trim ring and then put the spring on the back side. I held the spring on there while putting the whole thing into the bucket so the spring won't jump out and stayed in place. So I held it on there, put it up in there and screwed it in. Start holding the trim ring in place. Then I took the trim ring back out. If you notice, the trim ring needs to fit the headlight bucket or the headlight itself. And the back of the headlight had these tabs that needed to match up to the trim ring. If not, it wouldn't have fit flat and securely. So I had to take like a Dremel or a cutoff wheel and trim out all the little notches that the headlight have to match up, correspond to the headlight to get it to fit. That's how it looked without the headlight in place, and then with the headlight in place, it fit pretty flat. So I put the trim ring back in, put my springs back in. Then I drilled my hole for my grommet, for the wires and the grommet for the headlight. Stick the wires in. And I had to drill a bigger hole because the wires wouldn't fit through that little hole. And I blew out all the excess debris from the drill bit, put my grommet in, and then I put back the wiring harness for the headlight. Now it's time to connect the wires up for the headlight. And I come to find out that I had 2 more wires that was from the LED ring that needed to go through the hole too. So I was contemplating about drilling another hole, but I found a way to stick them all through the same hole. Then connect the harness up for the headlight. Not that much room to play with in there, but I got it in there. This is where it shows you that the notches come in place for the headlight to sit flat or flush inside the bucket. So the notches that I had trimmed out for each notch on the headlight, they all correspond together. And let it sit in the pocket real nice and firmly. So I forgot to mention that I put the other trim ring on top of the headlight. There's 2 trim rings that come with each light. Put the trim ring on top, and this holds the headlight in place from it falling out. And I just screwed it down. And remember to screw some, drill out the holes a little bit bigger so you don't crack the material, because it's very fragile. So you got other holes in place that shows where you can screw the springs down more to adjust the headlight. So you got extra holes in there to adjust the headlight while it's all in place. Okay, we're putting the bezel on, and you got to be careful putting this bezel on, because I thought I scratched the paint at one point. I slapped this bezel on, and it seemed like it jumped back out, and thank God it didn't scratch the paint. But that's how I look with the bezel on. Came out pretty good, I think.
You don't like the amber, man? I like the amber.
Now I'm gonna give it some light and see what it looks like lit up.
Come down some more. Down and over.
There it is, lit up. Looks pretty good.
Straight. Even if you bend down, the top is
This was a nice little battle. I mean, the video probably makes it look a little easier, but this took a little time and thinking. Hope it helps out for you. Subscribe for more. Thanks.